And
great.
so you can go in, if you want to share it, you can go in and share it now off my page and also on YouTube.
Yes.
Yeah. So
Okay.
I'm going to play the intro once I see that everybody's on. Okay. So they're all hooked up. I'm going to play the intro. Welcome everybody on the live and on the replay. Um,
Hello.
with Henk Verhaeren, my dear friend, my brother. We're going to have a good
Yes.
time for the next hour. I'm going to play the intro real quick and allow people time to come in.
Ah, great.
How's it going, everybody? We got Henk Verhaeren in the house, our beloved, brave, beautiful brother. Who knows what we're going to talk about? We might talk about Kundalini experiences. Uh, that's what we've
Great.
talked about before.
Yes.
um, yeah, It was funny because I had an experience the other day. We drove into town. We'd had
Yeah.
a very incredible sacred sexual night before, and of course that doesn't just mean physical intimacy. But anyway, the next day we drove, and it was funny because it was snowing, which Morgan had only seen one time before, and she'd never
Oh,
been in a
really?
car while it was snowing, so she was freaking out a little bit. It was funny, but the whole time I was having Kundalini energy run through my chakras as I'm driving, and I made a
Wow.
joke to her. I said, "Oh, I just proved that you can have Kundalini moving through your chakras and drive through the snow at the same time."
Yeah. And did she feel it too? Did you interact your energies while you were driving, or?
No, no, it took everything I had just to concentrate on the driving. I didn't even think about doing anything with it.
Yeah, yeah, yes, yes.
Yeah.
That's where the focus is. Then, if you tune into each other, then it can
Oh yeah.
make each other's energy stronger. So,
Yeah, we did that the night before, and many other
yeah.
nights.
Wow,
It's
great.
quite
Yes.
a expansion in that
Yes.
department and everything else that's going on. So yeah, I didn't. We just had a really incredible show for an hour and a half with the beautiful sister out of the UK, and we never got to talk about because she had mentioned it before the show how the last few weeks have gone, which always seems to be the conversation. Which I guess if we're looking for the real time intel, that's where it's going to be in the most present moments and the very near past. But yeah, December's been quite extraordinary as we complete the 12th month of this incredible year. How's it been for you?
Yeah, it's also very extraordinary. And what we see, we have a lockdown now again in Holland
Well,
until the January 19th, so for 5 weeks. So the people are being driven apart more and more by this,
yeah,
by fear. And yeah, I think, like you said the last time, it is a distraction, and it takes every conversation over, every meeting, and our whole life. And I think we need to look for other ways to do things ourselves and make ourselves not so dependable on those people who are directing the news and
yeah.
telling us what to do, because we're not children anymore. So
Yeah, it's time. Maybe it's time that we, as we talked about in the last show, it's time to grow up.
Yes,
You know.
yes, that's it. Because it's easy to wait for someone who's gonna fix it for us, and but then, of course, at a certain point, they are going to abuse that.
Yeah.
So that's you see that with always with animals that are very obedient.
Yeah.
They are getting yeah,
Programmed.
yeah,
Trained, right?
yeah,
Yeah, and you said that like these, you have another lockdown in Holland till the
yeah,
19th of January, and that it's separating people, I guess, on one hand, but on the other hand, uh, it's also giving people the opportunity to go within themselves, and think about
exactly,
things like a lot of people have talked about. I read an incredible post this morning by Judith Kuzel,
yeah.
just talking about how it's these things are continuing to come up, and to be cleared and integrated and zero pointed.
Yes, and it makes us aware and conscious about the fact who we are and what we are and where we are here for. So actually, this crisis is really yeah, an opportunity to wake people up, and that is happening in a massive amount.
Yeah,
Even the people I wouldn't expect it from are now saying, "Hey, what is the life I'm living? Is this how it meant to be?" And they're going to investigate things because at a certain point they start to think for themselves. So and then the whole process starts. And then they see that everything they always believed in and trusted is not so trustworthy as it, yeah, as they thought it was.
yeah, yeah. Everything's being deconstructed.
Yes.
I was getting downloaded this morning, uh, pretty intensely, and I started to write a post, but I haven't gotten done with it. But it's basically what I was being led to write, and I guess I'll finish it later today. As in regard to, well, the first thing I did was I went to the Google and I looked up the Greek meaning of apocalypse, which is I actually copied and pasted it, which is let me see, apocalypse is a Greek word meaning revelation, an unveiling or unfolding of things not previously known and which could not be known apart from the unveiling. And so, where I'm going to go with this is the reality of what's occurring, which obviously applies to every individual, but also to every single energetic uh, or energetic that's in the physicality, such as financial system or educational system or whatever. That everything is going to be exposed, and where I'm going to go with this post is what's more important to find out the truth of this structure of this matrix, or to find out the truth of yourself. And we spend time resisting and attaching to things in the collective belief systems, but with the more important one being our own truth.
Yeah.
And I don't know if I said that as well as I wanted to, but there just seems to be such evidence, including what you're talking about with the quarantine, of self introspection and further inner work. Even though we might think we're awake enough or enlightened enough, there's still more ground to cover.
Oh yeah, there's always a lot of work to do and space for expansion. That's why it is getting more complex because humanity is ready now to make that jump, and
Yeah.
things have got to get a bit chaotic and have to deconstruct it, be deconstructed to build up better again. But it
Have,
can. it happen in an intelligent way. Of course,
Yeah.
it's not necessary to have all that suffering, but that's just the level of awareness that people are in now.
Yeah.
Because that what you say, they resist because they want to hang on to the old, and the old is not always the best.
Yeah.
The best is this, the growth of the spirit, and getting more conscious. And I think people are separated, but actually we see now we are in the same story all together, and together we can step out of it. And the power that people have, individual, is much bigger than what they think that they have. But that
Yeah.
is also the what the media made us believe, because it's a one-side dialogue. It's only telling us and programming us and conditioning us like it's a school. But now we see there are other realities, and yeah, and the people we used to believe blindly uh, are not so yeah
Yeah.
are,
And even the things that got us to a certain point, uh, it's not that they weren't truthful or even invaluable, but you wake up the next day and there's a new level of truth, and there's
yeah,
new code available and new memory available, and so it changes the level of truth and awareness,
yeah,
and so it's interesting watching this year, because I've seen so many people that come on the show that I know through the show, that and a lot of them are practitioners that have changed, that have evolved and expanded, but
yeah.
could only do so by letting go of belief systems that they had incorporated into them, that were incorporated into themselves as a result of their awakening.
Yeah, and they build an identity, and that is also the truth is a living thing that is evolving, and we have to grow along with it and adapt all the time to the next levels of realities. So even if you people think they can live in peace and everything is it's just a state of mind, it's always an interactive process. So
Yeah.
and people are pushed to a certain limit where they are tested, and yeah, they can see how to deal with it. But there's always the freedom of choice to do that, and that is the beauty of it. So
Yeah.
it reveals yeah, who we really are and what we are capable of. And yes,
I love this quote. Thank you, Voda, for putting this up from YouTube. It's by Bucky Fuller. You never change things by fighting the existing reality. To change something, build a new model that makes the existing model obsolete. And I guess that's what I was saying.
yeah,
You
that's
know.
I wrote something like that too. Like people want to destroy the system, but it's better to. It's just like with an egg when a chicken is breeding on an egg, and the mother goes to wants to make the process of the chicken hatching from the egg faster, then the chicken dies. So it has to grow from the inside out,
Yeah.
and it then it renews himself. And if we find something better, then it replaces the worst, because everyone wants to go to that better place. Everyone wants to go from darkness to light. And yeah, sometimes we don't know exactly what certain things are and how they work, and some things work for a relative time and then they fall apart again. So
Have you had, on a personal level, have you noticed anything over the last few weeks? Any change in yourself? Anything that sticks out, and also even in your partnership with the.
well, for me, it's difficult that sometimes people don't want to see what is happening, and sometimes live in denial because of the group pressure,
Yeah.
and they want to be nice and they want to be accepted and they think it's going to be fine, and but they don't see the part they are playing in it by letting it happen, by doing nothing, by not saying their truth because they feel their truth and they feel that it is not right, but then they are going to adapt, and very easy they go along with the flow. And but that I try to trigger on a nice way, to make them aware of things.
Yeah.
And of course, there's a little resistance in it, and my resistance is also not accepting that they are sometimes in denial. But that's
Yeah.
also part of the. But if you're too long in denial, then the trouble builds up so far that it's hard to get out. At a certain point, you're with your back against the wall, and there is no other option anymore, because then everything is taken, and every freedom is gone, and every choice and option you have is, yeah, there's no life anymore. It's not living life as we supposed to live it anymore. So, but there are other options, just like with, how do you call that, Bitcoin. That that idea is also starting something, apart from the whole system. And the system is not bad, but the system served us to a certain level, and made certain, luxury and possibilities for us to do the things that. But now it's time to go further, to take the next level, to work on our inner person, and all the invention and all the wealth is there to do that. So it's a perfect moment, and everything is connected, and things are can go so fast, the evolution of humanity. So I hope it doesn't, the civilization don't crash totally, and we forget everything, and then we have to rebuild everything again.
Hmm.
That's also part of the process, and if that is necessary, then it will happen.
Yeah.
But that comes along with a lot of suffering. But
Yeah.
that suffering is what they need, perhaps.
Yeah.
And all we can do is, try to give the example how to, choose for love, because
Yeah.
it is fear, or it is love. And a lot of people are living in fear now, and
Do you see a
they,
lot of that? Do you see a lot of now? How many lockdowns have y'all had? Two or three?
uh, I think, two.
Two. Do you see people? I mean, when you get out, are you able to get out in Holland? What does it mean when
Yeah,
you're
yeah, yeah, yeah,
locked
yeah.
down?
All the shops, only the shops that are, where
Essential.
you can buy food, there you can go
Yeah.
now.
Yeah.
But people are avoiding each other on the street, and even on the street they are wearing those masks,
Do you
because
have to wear a mask in public?
y- you have to. That's what they say, but
Not everybody's doing it.
that's not legal, because that's, it's a form of torture. That's in the law. It is, you cannot let people do things that make no sense. So that is actually written in the law, that,
Hmm.
they cannot make us do things that make no sense.
So are they not enforcing it? If you walk out without a mask, are they not enforcing that?
Well, they know they cannot enforce it, so I don't wear a mask, and of course, I take my responsibility. Of course, I take distance from people, so I don't spread any, virus, or contaminate them. But I'm not going to do things that are,
Against your soul.
against my soul. Yeah, then I betray the whole nature of
Yeah.
life. I see I'm trembling, the shaking the table.
It's
But,
the enemy.
you can download, a pass that you are,
Oh
the
yeah.
exception that doesn't have to wear a mask.
I got you.
They
I got
cannot
you.
do anything, about that. So
Do you see people? I mean, does it feel like that when you go out there, they're in fear? Do you see people coming together at all? Do you see any movements to push back?
yeah, there are two groups. The group that, and the media makes it like the people that wear no mask are totally, don't believe in, the virus, don't believe in disease, and don't care about other people. But that's not how it is.
Yeah.
They care about other people, but they care about the freedom we are supposed to have, and they but they are pushed up against each other, and that is going to cause some trouble, I think, especially because a lot of people lose their business, because all the small business owners,
Mm.
those are the ones who are gone, and the government gives them money, but it's not the government that gives them money, it is our money, and
Yeah.
yeah,
It's funny how
so
that works, right?
yes,
So I wonder, and I think this is a good subject with you, is I wonder when we're going to start talking about energy and
yeah,
that
it,
everything is energy, as
everything
opposed,
is energy, yes,
you know what I mean? As opposed to, and there's nothing wrong with talking about chakras and talking about the different aspects of what we might call the ascension conversation. But when are we going to start talking about energy in terms of explanations for why I don't wear a mask, or whatever the topic might be? You
yeah,
know, I mean, I'd like to see more conversation about, in other words, in regard to the things that we, whether it's, well, think, say, and do,
yes,
especially the things that we do, because that seems to be more of a focal point in society. Like, oh, well, that group doesn't wear a mask, or that group doesn't want to get a vaccine, or whatever. But the energy behind it, you know?
yes, and it's those opposing energies that are part of the whole reality, and um, if we can make them aware, of everybody aware that they are all trying to find the same thing, then we can start to create union out of this
Yes.
contradiction. And it's a whole field of energy, and the energy is sometimes focused at a certain point, just like in our bodies. But if we are living in fear, then our energy is going to vibrate on that level, and it's going to attract negative things. And you're going to close yourself down, and you're going to lock yourself in, and and in the end, you don't move anymore. Then there's complete stagnation of the energy. And the medicine against that is consciousness, because consciousness is also a field,
Yeah.
uh, and the consciousness focuses itself inside us, but is connected to everything else in that field of energy. So if we focus that energy towards sanity and love and positive positive changes,
Yeah.
because this still is a great opportunity to change things.
Yeah. It's always darkest before the dawn, right?
Yes, yes, yes. And it's going to get, the darker it gets, the brighter
Yeah.
it also gets, and the more we appreciate it.
Yeah.
And
Have
those
you?
forces don't fight each other, they complement each other. So without darkness, there is no life. Without that, there is no light.
Yeah.
I mixed them up. So
I got
we
you.
we need them both.
Yeah. I was talking to a friend of mine, a brother, yesterday, and he was remarking how over the last, I would think, 3 or 4 months, how fast his unawakened family is starting to talk in awakening terms.
Yeah,
Have
that's
you,
great.
have you have you experienced any of that with friends or family, or even people
Yeah,
that you? Yeah.
amazing. Yes, in an amazing way. With my brother, with Annette, and they are totally in grown very fast in the things. It is even going faster than yeah, maybe when we awakened, a few years ago. Then it was only a few people, and they thought maybe we are crazy. But now a lot of people are going through the same process.
Yeah.
because you feel the whole field of consciousness and energy, so you can sense what is happening. And now for them, it's a shock to see what is happening real fast, and that it was already, yeah, you could see this coming. So
Mm,
they can connect the things also,
yeah.
the situations and the ideas behind
Yeah.
it. And it's all
You,
consciousness because we can make it any way we want.
the last time we talked, I think you said you were working on a third book. Is that right?
Yes, yes, yes. Yeah, I'm writing all the time. I'm getting inspiration all the time. I made some quotes today. A very good one, I think. Also to express those things and make people aware. But yeah, what I'm going to do now is, yeah, I'm working. Oh yeah, I'm working on this book of this witch, a woman who died, who was murdered in 1605. So
Wow.
that's not even 400 years ago. And she was murdered because people were superstitious, and there was also a plague then.
Hmm.
And people want to blame someone. They want to place it outside themselves to get control. And a lot of women were killed then
Yeah.
because they connected that people were dying or children were dying because of some woman looked in a certain way or said something that wasn't nice. So then they can focus their anger and their fear on that, and push it out that way by destroying other people. But it's incredible how the whole village worked along with that, because it is the how she came to the law, and how the whole process is still available. It's written in old Dutch, so it's hard to read it. But when you read it, that's the people
So,
are just the same as
right.
us at that moment, and there are judges, and there are majors, and they're all in it, and
Hmm.
they gossip and they say things, and then they say, yeah, they did the best um, after what they could do, but everybody knows that this is wrong. Everybody knows that that is wrong to torture a woman. They say before they say, are you going to confess before we're going to torture you, or are you going to say now that you have done? The word witch was not so much used then. They say it was witchcraft,
Witchcraft.
tovenarij, yeah.
So
And
this was an actual event? That's an actual story? You're reading it in
yes,
and so are you writing a book about the subject? Is that what you're doing?
about that woman and the process she went through, and how the people in the village are acted towards her, and that's all written down in that old process,
Are
because
you?
the judge was her neighbor, the
Hmm.
judge and they were there when she was burned alive on the square, and they tortured her for 3 days. And after they tortured her, they said, you confessed. But she said, yeah, I confessed because I was in pain. But I said it because you tortured me. And then they say, yeah, we have to torture you again. And the
Wow.
torture the torture that is happening is so sick, that is you cannot even imagine it. It's
So
incredible.
do you draw correlations between that story and what's going on
Yes,
today? What's going on today?
yes. And also, yeah, the war, of course, that is also something. When the people started to follow Hitler and look up to him, some people resisted towards Hitler. But everybody thought, if we just play along, if we just let it happen, if we look the other way, then the evil will pass us. But that is in fact the evil, because that is how the evil could happen, and how those people were put on trains by the hundred thousands,
Yeah.
and how those witches, which were just pagan,
Yeah.
they worked with herbs, and
Healers.
they have a lot of wisdom. What?
Yeah. Healers.
And, yeah, healers,
Or healers.
absolutely. And the church, they were, I think the church, they connected that to God, and they say that they are to distract themselves
Hmm.
for that they have no power.
Yeah.
And
And
they put the people, the groups against each other, so they get a lot of fights.
yeah, yeah,
And everybody
exactly.
knows about it. It's in the war. Every German knew about it. They say we hebben das nicht gewusst, but they knew 95% knew about that. And the life just went on as if it was normal. And is what we're going to see now if we don't stop it. Because first we have to wear a mask, and then they say the people who wear no mask are criminals, and then they're going to lock them up. And they're also talking now about climate lockdowns.
What
So
is that? What does that mean?
that means if you make too much CO2, then you have to pay taxes. But if you cannot pay those taxes, you have to stay inside. So that's the next step. That is the next step. And it's going further and further, and you're going to get connected to apps and all kind of things. And that is the
The
great
hell I
reset.
am.
It is on the internet. They say it's a conspiracy, but it's all on the internet.
Oh no, I know. A friend of mine, one of our soldier crew,
Yeah,
went to. Well, it's actually the town that Morgan is from, Adelaide, South Australia. And anyway, my friend lives about 3 hours out of town, and she went into the town to go visit her daughter. And
yeah.
I know the last time she'd went in, I had asked her, "What's it like over there?" She said, "Well, there's nobody wearing masks." So I asked her this time. I said, because this was about a week and a half ago. I said, "What happened this time?" She said, "I said, are they wearing masks?" She said, "Well, some people are, and some people are not. But you can't go into a business unless you take your phone and download the app so they can see where you're at all times."
So yeah, that
And
is scary.
it's scary. I mean, yeah, that's just like, I wouldn't participate. I mean, it's just, and I
No,
guess these things are, if we look at it from a higher perspective, these things are being put into place for the exact reasons that you mentioned earlier, which is, is the inner work and the self introspection, thinking about things at a deeper level and questioning things that are happening on a collective level.
yes, because that are all things that are in all inside of all of us, and then we have to go to those dark places. That's what I wrote today. To an angel can only be an angel if he knows the devil within himself.
Yeah.
Otherwise, it's just a fool. Then he can say, I'm an angel, I only do nice things, but then he denies the reality that also lives and also has to be dealt with. And it can be dealt with in a conscious way.
Yeah.
It is all about the recognition about of ourselves in the other.
Yeah.
But yeah, they yeah, I want to say something about those mask wearing again, but they say actually that the people that wear masks for a big reason want to show that they are good, that they are
Yeah.
good people. So we are the good people. Look at this. But they are frustrated because they it irritates. They know it doesn't work. Maybe for a little bit, but not. It's crazy. It's insanity. Total insanity. That was
Yeah.
in the time of Hitler. The woman, they painted their lips red because he didn't like that. He saw that as a that was their protest,
Yeah. Yeah.
because all her face, all her expression is going to be erased. And you're erasing yourself too now.
Yeah, it looks like I'm erasing
Yeah.
myself. Oh man. Yeah. Well, I just I wonder, you know, I wonder how long. I wonder because I know that the truth frequency is expanding. I don't think anyone on the face of the earth has any that can stop that. Like this is what I was reading earlier, the Greek definition of apocalypse. Everything comes to the surface,
Yeah.
and it's I guess in our experience, it's a physical reality of an energetic absolute. cycles. People talk about 26,000 years and 6,000 years and 12,000 years, but whatever that cycle is. But I guess what I'm saying is that I wonder, how is this energy of truth going to expand? Because even if there's censorship that's taken to a higher degree, I just know that maybe it's telepathy, I just know that we're going to continue to expand code within ourselves through our co-creation and collaboration and cooperation with each other.
Yes. But if we can reach a certain level now of enough people who are become aware, then is going to be a normal thing, and
Yeah,
then people adapt to it easy, and then we reach a point where it all shifts.
yeah,
And that is important to reach that level, because that now we are not spread in villages all across the world, and only one guy shaman or mystic or enlightened figure or whatever. But then, but that's what you see in your family and at your friends. They are going, it's becoming more normal. So
yeah,
now is the time. So before they are going to censor things that are a certain threat to the old system, it is important to make people aware. But yeah, you cannot force it, because then it looks also the aggressive way, and then it's also them against us, and
yeah,
so the communication is important always.
yeah. Have you noticed anything specifically, like in the last few weeks, couple of months, in terms of the masculine and feminine energetic dance, like even in like your relationship? I mean, have you seen anything out there at all?
Yeah, I see in Annette, she is always, because a lot of women are trained to be nice, to be friendly, and 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 she is was really hard programmed into that. But at a certain point, it changed, and then she adapted a new attitude that was more her true self. Of course, I was the first victim of that to test it on. That's how it works, huh? But
So be it. Yeah.
it
And
is
so be it.
better for everyone, because then she speaks truth as it really is. Then you know what that what she says, that she means it, and
Yeah.
everybody is getting that, is the becoming adult, mature.
Yeah.
And that's a hard process, because then some people maybe don't like you, but that is not the end of the world, because then they respect you more if you are yourself. Then uh, uh, and then you find the people that respect you of who you are,
Yeah.
and are going into that sometimes conflict of speaking, saying something that isn't so nice, and not saying yes, it's fine, and saying everything is fine.
Yeah.
So,
There's
but
nothing
that
wrong with
was,
that. That sounds like what I've observed, and
yeah,
not.
but in in the witch period, in the yeah, that's 16. It's not the medieval time. It's a bit later. Is that? That was
Mhm.
for 300 years. The women were tortured, and while they were tortured, they also had to say who they learned it from other women. So then the process of burning people could go on. So they always had to betray two other women, and can you imagine what an enormous pressure that must have put on them? So there is a lot of that is has programmed us as a society and as person.
Absolutely. I mean,
And
that the trauma of that,
yeah,
uh, and it was worldwide.
yeah, and but
Would
what's also happened, and that, because they say the male are the aggressors, but when women were involved in those inquisition, and in those they were also very sadistic to a level that even guys can hardly imagine.
yeah,
So it's not that I think that's also the energy that then explodes and finds another way or another level. So they are not saints. Women are not better than men. Men are not better than women. We have all those qualities within ourselves, and in us it expresses itself a bit more in a masculine way because we are built or programmed like that. But we have those energies are also good.
Yeah.
And if we can manage those energies in ourselves and in each other and learn to work with it and learn to trust it again, then a lot of good things can happen and all our talents can flourish.
Yeah.
But
Absolutely.
women sometimes, and I have to say this, they say, yeah, the patriarchy and the man and this and that, but they were there too, and they didn't do anything then. Okay, that's I didn't want to blame them, but
No, no, I get what you're saying.
yeah, and yeah, we
we've
were all
all,
there,
well, we
and
were
we all
all,
can say no. And but the women also. Then they take the position of a man and then they think they are going to do it better, but that's not how it's going to happen because those guys did their best that they could at that time, and those women will go do the same too, and they think they do their best but they're going to make mistakes too. So we have to learn from our past and our mistakes and how we see things and communicate, and the truth, that is everything. That's all that's needed to willingness to face that in all its facets, in all its levels, in all its darkness and light and beauty and ugliness. It's a whole complex beautiful thing.
yeah. Man, I've
Yeah.
never seen you like this. You're like a preacher today.
Oh yeah.
Good, really good thing, though. It's good to see this in you. You got some fire going there.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah. No.
Yeah, that's and of course that's been taught. Well, and you make a great point because if you want to call it the patriarchal has impacted everybody,
Yeah.
and it just tends to look different on a masculine than it does a feminine.
Yeah.
Sometimes it looks the same, you know.
Yeah.
But that's one of the things that one of the reasons I asked you what I asked you and what you responded about Annette, which I think is actually an individual example of what's happening collectively, and that is that the energy of she or the energy of the divine feminine is stepping up now, and
Yeah.
it's not.
And we have to give that the space. We have to give that room. We have to let those demons out and let it do what it has to do. So then the energy, we can transform it because we can understand that.
Yeah.
And it is okay, but they can create some.
Well, I mean, just think about the energy of that. I mean, if you just look at
It's
the
beautiful.
example you were given in 1600, so there was an energetic field where that form of expression or that truth, you know, like say the truth of a healer who's just healing people and gets accused of witchcraft. But as so collectively, that's being suppressed. You know, if something's taken out of the equation, something has to replace it, which would have been the false, you know, the false patriarch or whatever. But and so
Exactly, that is true. That's 100%
yeah,
true because the churches and the priests, they replaced those healers, those women who
yeah,
were very connected to Mother Earth, to the divine feminine powers,
yeah,
to heal with love, with their knowledge, with their inner truth, and that was repressed because they saw it as a threat, because they
yeah,
were afraid of that,
yeah,
and they saw those women as they say that they were they always paint them as ugly and something, but they were a very powerful woman, and
yeah,
a lot of women were jealous of them too.
yeah,
And
absolutely.
yeah, and what happened? First there was a matriarchy, or the woman was the goddess in the beginning. That was because women can make children, and that was a miracle because the guys thought, well, wow, that's amazing. We cannot do that. But then at a certain point, they found out that they are also a part of that.
Yeah,
And then things started to so it's always a rebalancing of powers. and it's okay that it's sort of a dance. The polarities are here and there, and we are in the middle, and the polarities are inside us. But if we can make it a sort of a dance with each other instead of a fight, then we can create new things and nice things and beautiful things instead of destroy things.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
Far
yeah,
out, man. Yeah, and so like I was just saying too that now that there's an energy of this feminine uh, truth stepping up, it's taking space, and something's got to go. So I think we're starting to see some of that. You know, some of the patriarchal, which is not to be confused with masculine only,
no,
but it has been a patriarchal run, at least for the last few thousand years,
yeah,
and they're starting to break down. You know, I mean, you see this lady and this young lady. I think she's in her late 30s in New Zealand. That's running the country there. I think Iceland is the same. I mean, you're starting.
yeah, it's going great there. Yeah,
Is it Brazil or one of the South American countries? One of the prominent South American countries. So that's not a coincidence. You know, to be seeing more uh, females in what have been traditionally male roles. Because if you look at the example that you gave about the church being threatened by these healers, these the divine feminine healers, and what did they replace that with? Well, even the Buddhists, no disrespect to the Dalai Lama, but the Dalai Lama is a man; it's not a woman. You know, I don't see the Catholic Church with female priests. You know what I mean? I
yeah.
mean, so there's still a lot of residual in these structures that are very patriarchal. But I think we're doing a good job of breaking them down just by our own uh, personal inner work and higher levels of alignment.
Yeah, and that's what we did along the years, showing our vulnerability, talking about things we felt ashamed or afraid to talk about, because you come in the locker room and people start laughing, and that is still a risk.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it
But
is.
that is changing now. Well, they do it behind our back, but who cares? Because but it is a risk. We put up maybe yeah, a new level of being,
Yeah, yeah,
and that is the feminine inside of us. And if that is imbalanced, then it's not a matter of needing and wanting the other, and seeing the other as the other, but more as a whole. Yeah, universe union. I see violet melon. Right.
universe or
Nice.
universe.
Yeah, yeah. I cannot read all the
So
but it's
when
nice, nice.
when do you think you're well, before we get out of here, let us know, like, are you doing any type of work online with clients? How do people get in touch with you? When's your book coming out? Do you know any other announcements or anything you got going on?
Yeah, Saturday I have an appointment with someone, and then we're going to see which book we're going to bring out, because yeah, the global awakening, about the witch. I'm diving in the whole history of that, and it's such that so much things I'm becoming aware of, and so much things I want to share. But maybe the people are not ready for that, or they cannot see the connections in what will happen then and what is happening now, because it's coming back. That is the apocalypse. It's a changing of times. I also think the Vikings have a name for that. What was it again? When that's also the shift of the powers after a few generations. Then things find a new balance.
Yeah, yeah,
But it is so sad to see the suffering. I think that is not necessary,
yeah,
because that is us, we who are suffering. So perhaps if we can make people aware, and become aware more ourselves of our influence on the world and of others, and as an individual, because the energy of the whole expresses itself through us, and the consciousness of everything expresses itself through us if we give the space
yeah,
for that.
yeah.
It's just
Very
a matter
true.
of stepping out of the way. actually, and letting all those the collective intelligence of the universe express itself
Yeah.
through us.
Get out of the way. Get out of our way and get out of each other's way, right? Like you were saying
Yeah,
earlier.
yeah, 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 yeah,
I mean, if
yeah,
people, yeah,
yeah, in a playful way, and yeah, then when people get afraid and the separation comes in, then things start to escalate and go the wrong way.
yeah,
But we gotta do it together because we are together in this same little boat, this planet in the universe. And if one is suffering, then actually we are all suffering.
absolutely.
Yeah.
No
So
doubt
we have
there.
to take care for each other. We are brothers and sisters, and yeah, we come
That's right.
from oneness, and we want that oneness back. We want to find it back, so we get lost. And but it's all part of the process. So actually, it's a very good thing. Also, what is happening now that we don't we must not forget. I think
Yeah.
otherwise we go in the negative spiral along with it.
Yeah, I think
So
we just keep working on ourselves, and that's going to have a direct impact on what happens outside of ourselves, no doubt.
yeah,
Well,
yeah, yeah, yeah,
it's good seeing you again. Very
yeah.
good
Good
seeing you
seeing
again.
you
It's
too.
been a while. I can't
Yeah,
wait to see
yeah.
it.
A month?
Well, it hasn't been that long, like 3 months maybe. I don't even know.
No, last month.
Longer? Huh? Last month.
Last month. Yeah,
I
yeah.
can't remember.
Time is a relative thing,
I
and
can't remember these things.
everything is happening now. Yeah,
I,
that's me too. So
yeah, I cannot remember these things.
no, no,
I
no, no, no.
appreciate you, brother. I love you. Thank you for what you're doing, and I'll see
Yeah.
you.
Oh, Annette.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
she's hiding
Is she hiding?
in the bedroom, but
That's okay.
she's getting it because
Tell
you
her
and she
whenever
was
she.
very flattered by it because
Tell
she
her
has a
whenever.
lot to say.
Well, tell her whenever she's ready. She can even come on by herself
Yeah,
if she
and
wants to.
yeah, yeah,
Just
yeah,
tell her
and
that.
she is programmed to be a bit modest.
Yeah, yeah. Well, of
So
course.
that's very difficult to show yourself then, eh?
Yeah. Well, most of the women that are stepping up now, that's exactly how they are. Just like the lady this morning. She
Yeah,
didn't want to. She didn't want to do it, but she's being told she's got. She just knows. You got. It's time to step up. So, but
yeah,
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 anytime Annette wants to come on, either with you or without
yeah,
you, I'll
yeah,
certainly support that because I know she's powerful. The old saying
yeah.
behind every powerful man is a more powerful woman. So
Yes, 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 yes. To pull the money out of the man's pocket.
you're
That's a
gonna get
bad.
in trouble. All right, I'll see you later, brother. Take
Okay.
care.